So before I get into this review, I do want to clarify my statement from last week, because one of you pointed out that it seemed that this as if I was on the side of Tinsley's boyfriend, that she was in an abusive relationship with back in Tampa, not Tampa, you know, in Florida, Palm Springs, Palm Beach, Palm Springs, Nikki, you know, her relationship back there that actually garnered her the mugshot. I wasn't. I didn't really know anything about their relationship. All I knew was that from reports of it that weren't in gossip sites was that the relationship was abusive and that they were both, you know, on alcohol and drugs and pills or whatever. So it just created a really toxic environment. But I in no way was justifying her abuse, or I didn't even bring that up because I was not aware of that. I just thought that they were just that drunken couple that fought all the time. I didn't know that there was more to it. So I do want to clarify that if any of you thought that I'm never in favor of abuse, especially of a woman. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You guys don't know me well enough to know that. So I just want to clarify that I'm never for abuse of any kind. When I said that she got him together, I was saying that she walked in on him basically cheating on her, and she, you know, went ballistic. She tore that whole room up, and he called the cops on her, and she got arrested. That's what I was talking about. I didn't know about the abuse. Even if I did, I would not have spoke on it. I just want to clarify that I'm Team Tinsley. I just did not like the fact that she was trying to highbrow her arrest over Countess LuAnn. I thought in that moment, she should have been the one out of everybody who was most remorseful and understanding of her situation, and not try to distance herself away from it like she did something worse than what she did. You know what I mean? That's all that I was talking about. But I just want to clarify that, and I'm fine with you guys pointing things out, because like I said, we don't know each other really like that. You just tune into my reviews and you only get like a little speck of me. So it's okay to ask questions if you don't understand something that I'm saying, or ask me to clarify. I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? Because I also don't want to be out here saying misleading things either, or having you think that I'm saying something negative when it's really just all jokes off the cuff here and just having a really good time. I hope that explains it. I hope that's all cleared up. Now let's get into this review. So, I didn't know that we were going to start off with the funeral. Guys, I didn't know Bobby, right? But if you watch the show from the beginning, you know, it's like, you know, Bobby and Jill, and it's, oh, it's just so sad, because death is a finality, you know, and it's, it's just so sad to see all, I don't know, just to see all of them come together and see how they started, and see that, you know, all the issues that they had, it like went away, at least for this moment, because they came together to honor their friend who kind of started this journey with them. So it was, I wasn't ready. And then, I liked how Bethenny stayed. You know, because her and Jill, they didn't have a good end to their friendship. Jill was not nice. And I give Bethenny that. Jill was not nice to her in the end. And I remember Bethenny begging to be her friend, and Jill was not nice to her. However, we can't, or I know for me, I can't get mad at Jill for not wanting to be friends with Bethenny, because she did, even in that clip, she said, you're just very toxic. She's like, when you get angry at me, you yell at me and you lash out. And I felt like back in the day when I was watching them together, I felt like Bethenny was putting Jill in the place of her mother. And if something didn't go right, Bethenny would just like lash out at her like a child lashing out at his parents. And it was a lot for Jill. It really, because you're coming into this as like a friendship, and you don't realize that you're taking on you're stepping in the shoes of her mother. Like it was that friendship was rough. But I do think that there's love there, and I think that's what kept Bethenny there. The fact that despite it all, she still loves her, or had love for her, and she couldn't leave. And I'm glad that she stayed, and I'm glad that her and Jill had that moment. Even when Jill said, Bethenny was like, I couldn't leave. And she's like, because Bobby's still here. I don't know. I love that. Then it turned. I love me some Bethenny. But in any situation, Bethenny gonna let you know it's about her. Okay? Because Jill was just like, you know, she just laid her husband to rest. And she's just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm alone. And Bethenny, we're all alone. We're all alone. I'm like, oh, bereavement is not your ministry, sis, at all. But it does seem like they fixed it. I hope so. I know a lot of people are against this, but I would want to see Jill back. Because I was somebody who watched all of these Housewives shows from the beginning, I'm a sucker for the OGs. I really, really am. And I love to see them all back together because it's just like you saw where these ladies started and to have them back together. And I think that Jill will be, sad to say, on her humble pie at this point because she's just not on a high horse anymore. And I think she'll be more relatable now that, she's been faced with the reality of life. Like, you can lose it. You know what I mean? Like, I think Jill was in a space where she had a husband that adored her and spoiled her. So his death is like a reality check. So I feel like we'll get a softer side of Jill. I would love for her to come back on the show, but the ladies have to agree with it. And I would love for them to all just start over. I really, really would. But again, it's up to the main cast. And I only know what Jill has done to them on camera. I don't know what's happened behind the scenes. And let Bethenny tell it, she did some rough stuff. Like, I think she tried to get off the show. I don't know if this can heal all wounds, but I would really love to see the OGs back together. What do you guys think? Would you like to see Jill back on the show, or are you just like, you know what, her time is done, let's move forward? Let me know in the comment section below. So then LuAnn starts breaking down and telling Bethenny that she was in treatment. This episode, why did y'all warn me? This episode, I'm really emotional right now. And this was just a sad scene, you know what I mean? She was like, I spent New Year's Eve in treatment, like, regardless of her having all this money and just, being, above it all, I still wouldn't want that for anybody. And she sounded really heartbroken. And then to miss a funeral of somebody that you really, really cared about. Like, you miss laying your friend to rest because you're in treatment for drunk driving and fighting a police officer. Like, could you imagine what that woman was going through? But I did want to point this out. Can I tell you that driver is getting an earful right now? I know he is like, I need to drop this lady off, then go to like a comedy show so that I could get some joy back, because that ride, I'm watching this and I'm emotional. Could you imagine what it's like being the driver, sitting in all that conversation, unedited? Listen, whew. I'm so glad that Ramona is renovating that tired Airbnb that she was living in up in the Hamptons, because I don't know. Ramona has such an old style, and I feel like for her to be like so fly in her clothing, I wish it would match like her living spaces. But she's been renovating and updating things, and I wouldn't say starting over, but I feel like starting anew. So I'm glad she's renovating it. I'm excited to see what it's going to look like, because I love the floors that she pulled out. And I think that I saw like a kitschy little oven. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where she's going to go with that, because I feel like this is something that she needs. I feel like, the marriage is over. It's time for her to upgrade in all aspects and not just be out here hoeing with old men, because listen, I know that she needed to get back out there, but word on the street is that Ramona went full speed ahead. And I want her to, pipe it down, let the puss breathe and go into like renovating your homes and stuff like that, because I don't want her out there on the streets wilding. She not Sonja. She can't do it like Sonja. She can't drop it like it's hot like Sonja. So I need her to fall back, stay in her lane, and just get into her, homes. That's where I feel like she can release some of this like energy. Okay? Because seriously, I love Ramona, but she was tearing the streets of Manhattan up. Tinsley's mama is a bit extra, right? Yeah, I didn't like her making that comment to Scott about how she doesn't have time and just like really meddling in her life. But the thing about it is, Tinsley reminds me a lot of Candace from Real Housewives of Potomac. It's like you want space and things from your mother, but you also are getting provisions from her when you're a grown adult. So it's like you can't be like, oh, I want to be adult and I want to be respected, and you're still being spoon-fed like a child, right? However, I will say this. Although I didn't like what she said, it's not like you haven't said all of this stuff on the TV show already, Tinsley. Everything that your mother is saying right now in this scene, you have said the entire last season. So if Scott is still here, even after he's heard all the things you said and how fast you moved, he's here to stay, apparently, especially since you're in this coupon cabin commercials. I think he's in it for the long haul. I don't see them breaking up. I think they really, really care for each other. And I think when you're older, you move a bit faster. Like when you're in your 40s heading to 50, I don't think you date as long as somebody who is in like their 20s or early 30s. And a lot of times it's not because you're getting older or you're just like, I want to be married before this. I think it's just at that age, you already know what you want. You probably have, I was about to say been around the block, but I mean, you probably have dated a few people. You're just like, this type of man doesn't work for me, or this type of woman or this type of partner doesn't work for me. I need this to, be happy, or I need to live here or have this type of environment. So you kind of already know, so you don't take as long as somebody who is still figuring it out. So I'm not opposed to them or the speed that they're moving. And I feel like, you know, Tinsley was mentioning all this stuff already in her confessionals and her scenes, even with a lot of the ladies and the viewers telling her to slow down. She was doing all that and he watched it. You know what I mean? And he's still here. Girl, you're fine. Enjoy. Tinsley, as long as you and Scott still stay on this path, I see like an engagement within the next 3 months. Like, if like this show was filmed almost like a year ago, and if they're still going this strong, she's getting married soon and very soon, right? Sis, that first dress, that first wedding dress that you tried on, that was it. That was it. The other ones were cute, but that dress, that first dress with that bow with that beautiful bedazzled brooch. Ugh. Gorgeous. That is the one. I hope you put a down payment on it, because that's the dress, sis. That's the dress. This moment with Tinsley and her mother is really beautiful when they see the embryos, right? I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at the fact that the both of them have had so much work done, they can't even cry. It's oh, I'm happy that Sonja is, you know, on the up and up like the rest of the ladies, because, you know, she had a lot of stuff. Remember them toasters? Oh, that was like Sheree's jogger, spring, summer, fall, winter, maybe never. Like, that's what Sonja and them damn toasters. But I'm glad that she's finally has something that's the real deal. She got a licensing deal. You know, Sonja Morgan, New York is doing well. I'm happy for her. I really, really am, because I always felt like she was that one housewife that was just struggling, like keep her head above water and like really, you know, make this into something, because she was the ones who needed. There are housewives like Carol who are good, who don't need to do nothing but just have these cameras in their face and just live a life of luxury. And then there are others who gotta work. Sonja is one of them. So I'm glad that she has, you know, something good happening for her and going for her. I'm also happy that Jill and Bethenny were able to sit down, and Bethenny finally got the apology that she wanted and needed. And I gotta be honest here. I am kind of hurt, and it's my own selfish feelings, but I am kind of hurt that Bethenny was just like, I want to leave this where it is. Like, basically saying, like, we're fine, we had closure, I went to go visit her, we're done. Like, I don't want this to grow into anything else, because I kind of think she doesn't want her on the show. Because I heard through the grapevine that Jill was, you know, trying to get back on the show, and I kind of feel like that it's a good thing for her to do. I don't want her sitting in a house like mourning her husband. I feel like this will give her something to do. But yeah, so that hurt me. That hurt me. I was like, oh, Bethenny. When Jill and Bethenny were good, they were good. When they were bad, they were bad. And I just feel like they're older and more mature. And I feel like Jill is just in a different place, that Bethenny will finally get the friendship that she wanted, and Jill will get the friendship that she wanted from Bethenny, because Bethenny is older now. Bethenny was younger and wanted a mom at that point, and Jill just wanted a young, fun girlfriend, and it just didn't really work out. And also somebody to like have under her wing, but stay under her wing. So I feel like they're grown and they're a lot better, and they had a real friendship. So I was kind of hoping for a little bit more, but I understand. You know, I can't make that woman, Bethenny. I didn't mean it like that, but I was like, that woman. I don't want to force her into something that's not healthy for her right now, but I kind of want Jill on the show, and I want them to be a thing. So this is why Sonja's townhouse is still on the renters market, because I have seen some changes, right? She has made some changes. You know, the rust in certain places are gone. The peeling paint is gone. It still looks very old, dusty, and lived in. No shade, Sonja. Just tea. I wouldn't rent it for the price that she's asking for either. I would rent it if she moved out all of the furniture and let me bring in my own furniture, because it's just, that house just seems very, very dusty and used. It just looks like you swipe your finger over it and you just get like dust and pubic hair and semen. Oh, Carol, you shady, because this con body like workout day that you planned for all the girls, you didn't just think this up, sweetie. Ooh. Now I'm seeing what some of my subscribers is talking about, because this was the type of shade that, you know, I would hold off on. Even for an enemy. I'm not that shady, but this, shady. And I love how all the ladies were just like, when they saw Sultan, one of the trainers, they were just like, oh, Sonja's gonna love you. And as soon as Sonja comes in, she's like introducing herself to everybody. She sees Sultan and she's like, oh, taking it all in. Yes, Sonja. Oh, I love her. I love that kooky old hoe. I love her. Is she darker? Is she black? Well, she was for Halloween. See, y'all all knew that was problematic and said nothing. Complicit. Also, shout out to Conbody for getting on this show. You know what I mean? I think that's really going to help them, you know, help their business grow and really not legitimize, but I think this is like a commercial, not just on your local TV station. This is on like a cable network that goes around the globe. So I think that's really awesome for them. This is a great commercial. And although Carol chose them to be petty, I think it ended up turning out to be something really great for them. So shout out to Conbody. So this episode ends with LuAnn just reflecting, and she's just like, you know what? She said, I want to try. I appreciate that though. You know, some people just like, I'm never having a drink again, and they just become so dogmatic, and then they slip back up and end up, you know, relapsing into like alcoholism and not just social drinking because they were so strict in the beginning, and not just being realistic for their lifestyle. And so I appreciate what she says. She's just like, you know what? I'm just going to try to stop drinking and see what my life is like without it. Although I do think that I don't think that alcohol is her problem. I think that alcohol is her medication. So I think if she takes care of the problems, she won't self-medicate. I think she'll be fine as a social drinker if she gets help. And it seems like she is dead set on doing that. So I think she will be fine. And I also am interested to see what it's going to be like having, you know, another sober cast member. Because Sonja is sober, now LuAnn is going to be sober. I think Bethenny needs to follow. I think she does. I'm still not over her waking up in places she doesn't remember, pulling her weave out of the cereal boxes. That to me is far beyond smashed. And it's just kind of alarming, but you know, ain't my business. Not my monkeys, not my circus. I just review it, okay? But I am glad that LuAnn is getting herself together. And this episode, it didn't feel like a filler to me. It was a different kind of energy that I didn't mind. That's what I was saying. These shows, they need to give us balance. This was an episode that gave us balance. You know what I mean? Like, we needed a break from the shade and the drama. This episode gave us balance, and then there's going to probably be other episodes that give us like comedy and truth, and that's what I'm saying. We got to get all of those elements into one season, not just one overall theme. And I felt like the overall theme for New Jersey and Atlanta for the last 2 seasons have just been like depression. It was just always arguing and crying and sadness. There wasn't a lot of joy. And listen, I think that keep Nene in your prayers, because I think that this season, if she's on it, is going to be a rough one for her. So keep Nene in your prayers. Back to this episode. That's where it ends, and I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. I really, really did. I like the balance of it. It started off very emotional for me. And then, you know, they pulled us back into a story, and I have no complaints. What did you guys think about this episode? Let me know in the comment section below. Next week, remember when I talked about balance? Oh, they gonna give us some mess next week. It's going to be, I feel like we're going to start getting a little separation now of different groups, because now Bethenny is defending Sonia, and Dorinda is going to get a little nasty. I hope she doesn't do all that drinking. Ramona and Dorinda are going to get into it. Carol. I love Carol. That's my girl. But I'm starting to see things that I don't like, and I know she's had issues with LuAnn, but I'm starting to feel like she's reveling in her drunk driving and her arrest. Or was she drunk driving? I thought that she was behind the wheel. Yeah, she was behind the wheel of a car, right? Let me get the details first before I say anything, because y'all will get me together. But I just don't like the fact how I feel like Carol is getting too much comfort in LuAnn's downfall. I understand they have beef, but it's like, I don't know, like, don't be soulless. You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll see how it plays out next week, but I think it's going to be a really good episode, and I will be there to review it. And if you like what you see here, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you next week for the following episode of The Real Housewives of New York. Bye, guys.